those of IntellectualRadio.com, its subsidiaries, or sponsors. Encouraging, educating, and empowering you into action. This is Warriors Talk with your host, Lady ReShell.
Hello. Welcome to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady ReShell, where we move away from awareness towards action. It is Testimonial Monday, and our topic for today is finding strength in the storm. We are live on Intellectual Radio. We just heard from Roman with the Drive at 5. Keep it locked right here on Intellectual Radio and allow us to feed your brain. Last week, ReShell and I talked about self-sabotaging behaviors in relationships. Go over to YouTube, type in Intellectual Radio, and stay connected for any shows you have missed. The quote of the day is, God doesn't give us what we can handle. God help us handle what we are given. We are grateful for our sponsors. We have Gloria Dotson with Mary Kay, Paula Kelly with Allstate, and Pastor Michael Richardson from the Emanuel C.O.G.I.C, who has a special message for us.
Greetings, I am Pastor Michael Richardson.
And I am First Lady Anastasia Richardson from the Emanuel Church of God in Christ. We're located at 3058 West Van Buren in Chicago, Illinois. We are building upon a solid foundation.
We're inviting you to join us every Sunday morning on Facebook Live at Emanuel C.O.G.I.C at 10:15 Central Standard Time. And you can also view our videos on our YouTube channel at Emanuel C.O.G.I.C-MR. Once again, this is Pastor Michael Richardson
and First Lady Anastasia Richardson, and we're from the Emanuel Church of God in Christ. We are building upon a solid foundation.
If you are tuned in on any form of social media, please like, share the show, invite somebody else in on the show who will benefit from this information. Finding strength in the storm can almost seem impossible with a cancer diagnosis. From treatment and side effects, trying to stay afloat mentally can be draining for even the strongest person. Somehow, survivors find their serenity in receiving and giving support. My special guest is a breast cancer survivor, advocate, and the founder of Linkage Beauty Movement that she created in 2019 to empower, encourage, and embrace cancer fighters and survivors around the world. Doing this actually helps keep her focused, grounded, and inspired in so many ways daily. Welcome to Warriors Talk, Mimi Frazier.
Thank you so much. Good evening. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for coming on and being willing to share your story.
Absolutely.
So we know that breast cancer affects African American women at an alarming rate. Breast cancer is the second most common cancer among women in the United States. Black women and white women get breast cancer about the same rate, but Black women tend to die at a higher rate than white women. So Mimi, when you hear that, what are your thoughts?
It angers me, of course. It makes me feel really sad, and it makes me think about all the friends and sisters and associates that I've lost since my diagnosis. You know, it just makes you really think about what we're going through and, you know, what needs to change and how we can make it change.
Awesome. And we need to step in and make a change because especially I read an article the other day how when they have the breast cancer ads, mainly you see Caucasian women. And so they tend to think that Black women think, oh, well, it doesn't affect me because that's all they see with the ads. So even in the ads, we need to make sure that we are represented so that we can take this disease seriously because it is still taking our lives. I was diagnosed in 2013, and at that time, the death was at 40,000. Right now, it's at 43,000. So we still have a lot of work to do.
A lot of work to do. Absolutely.
So Mimi, tell us when you was first diagnosed with breast cancer.
I was diagnosed in 2015 at the age of 34. I was diagnosed at stage 3B invasive breast cancer.
So you wasn't even at the age for getting a mammogram?
No, not at all. However, throughout the years, I did have some issues, and I was misdiagnosed with having fibrocystic breast disease. And so after being misdiagnosed with that, I kind of put it in the back of my mind, which is something that we do also. We don't really put forth the effort that we need to with our health. We kind of take what they say and put our hopes together and our faith together and kind of put it in the back of our minds when we should be more focused on getting other opinions and finding out other things from other doctors to see if we're okay, because I quite possibly had cancer since college, because the tumors that were formed, they were there. I had, some sightings of them as early as 2000.
Well, I mean, it's a good thing that, number one, you knew about it. So did you find your own lump?
Yes, absolutely. It was 2 tumors that was there, and my nipples started to become deformed. So it was so much pain that I couldn't sleep on that side. I couldn't wear bras anymore. And I had recently gotten into a relationship, and, he was very concerned and was just like, hey, we gotta. So I got that extra boost that I needed, which I should have already done. And I went to the doctor, and that's when I found out.
So men, you can play a role in this. You're touching those breasts, so you should be able to know if something is different.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. We need that. That's important. That's part of our support system when it comes to taking care of our health. So you found your own lump. And so women, that's one of the signs that we can, pay attention to. If your nipples are looking deformed, they're not looking like, they normally look like. Sometimes I don't know if women like actually say, oh, pay attention to the details of the nipples. Like if the nipples are, turning inward, sometimes they go inward.
Right.
Sometimes they have this wrinkleness to it that, it doesn't look normal. And when you know that it doesn't look normal, then you should be doing something about it. If it's lasts longer than 3 weeks, then you should be talking to your doctor, saying, okay, something is not right. Write it down when you first saw it and draw a circle on the paper to where, draw some boobs on the paper and draw where you saw the change. And then go back 3 weeks later and look at it. And if it doesn't look the same, then, don't deny it. Just verify it.
Yeah.
Go and verify it.
And I will also say getting a second opinion, in hindsight, now that I've been through almost about 5 years of cancer surviving, I would say almost always get a second opinion, or consult with another doctor to find out things, because sometimes, a lot of times, I can't even say sometimes, doctors will misdiagnose you. And they will tell you things that are not true. And if you're still experiencing the pain, and if the things that you guys are doing aren't helping, then it's always wise and safe to get a second opinion, to go and speak with another person and let them know what you're experiencing. Because if I had done that, things would have been, I would have been able to catch this so many years earlier, and been able to target what I needed to target.
So when you first found out, you thought about it and you said, oh, okay, because when they tell you, we expect that these people are experts and they have seen these things a million of times. So when they say this is what it is, we tend to be comfortable with that and say, okay, this is what it is. But in the back of your mind, if you have that thought in the back of your mind that this is not what it is, then it's your body. So don't be afraid to go and get a second opinion. It's not like you betraying a doctor. You just want to make sure that you're okay. Because sometimes when people do get a second opinion, sometimes they don't even have to go through all of the treatment that the doctor is telling them to go through, and they come out just fine.
Yes, so true. Don't be afraid. Never be afraid. As far as your physical health, as far as your mental health, I'm a very strong advocate of these things. Please do not ever be afraid of your body and what your body is telling you, because our body tends to talk to us and we tend to ignore it. And once we get in tune with our bodies and listen and consult with doctors that really care about us, and find just a team of people who are just as concerned with your life as you are, things will become a lot different.
Yes. And if you ever feel like you're not comfortable with your doctor, then change doctors.
Yes.
Don't be afraid to change doctors, especially if this is a person that you're going to be seeing for the rest of your life. You want to be comfortable going in that office.
You're so afraid. You're so afraid at the beginning. You're just like, I want to deal with as less doctors as possible. But you come to find out, as the years go on, you're with so many doctors. So it's wise to find doctors that care.
So Mimi, speak to someone who may be afraid to go to the doctor, afraid because they did feel a lump and they heard so many horror stories about mammograms. So speak to
Yeah.
that woman that may be afraid.
Um, I would say the bottom line is life is so precious, and we've all lost people from cancer or from something that we love, whether it was unexpectedly or whether it was an illness. And I would just say never be afraid of your body. You only have one life to live and you only get one body. So why not cherish that body and make sure you're doing everything you're supposed to make sure that you're here for your not only yourself, but for the people who love you, because life is so precious. Think about your goals and your dreams and the things that you want to accomplish. Many women are already mothers, when they get diagnosed. So think about your children. They're married, they have husbands, they still have mothers and fathers. So I just would say think about life in itself, because you get a lot of time to yourself to think about a lot of things when you're diagnosed, because, sometimes you get diagnosed, but then you don't start treatment until months after, or you don't get surgery till months after. So you're left to kind of ponder on, what life is about to be like or what changes is going to happen. But my best advice would be never to be afraid and just to be open and have strong faith, because you will make it through.
I like that strong faith. So Walter Jones says this is helping him. So somebody is being blessed by your story on today, Mimi.
Oh, awesome. I'm happy for that.
Mimi, how did you process this news when you were, told when it finally set in that I have breast cancer?
Um, the funny thing is, I always felt like I could feel things. And throughout the time from me being misdiagnosed and me starting to experience a lot of pain, I was saying to myself, and some people would say that's jinxing yourself, but I was saying in my mind, what if I have breast cancer? Like, what if I have cancer? What if this lump that I'm feeling that's growing and growing, what if this is cancer? So I was horrified, but at the same time, it was like something in me that didn't want to know. I was horrified. I didn't want to know. And I was like, I'm going to go throughout life just ignoring it and maybe it'll go away. And so that was the mistake that I made, because like I said, my doctor told me at the time, if I would have come there even 3 months after when I did, I would have been in big trouble, or I possibly wouldn't have even been here, because my cancer was so far advanced and I was in so much pain and I had gone through so much that I should have known. So just never to ignore the signs and never to ignore yourself and what your body is telling you is very important, because I definitely did that. So what I would tell myself is just to not ignore things, get a second opinion, stay strong, find that support system that's going to be strong around you, that's going to stick with you, and just know that you'll make it through.
So how important, Mimi, is that support system when you're going through?
Oh my goodness, very. And the funny thing is, when you get diagnosed, you would think the people that you have already registered in your mind that's gonna step up and do things and be there and be that system. It's totally the opposite. I'm sure I can speak for a lot of women. It's the total opposite. So I found a whole nother realm of support in women all over the world, and people who have gone through things that I've gone through, or who are just here to support. Maybe they haven't gone through it physically, but they've gone through it with someone in their family. So having support and reaching out and opening up is very important, because I was a very closed person before all of this happened. And I would say getting diagnosed with breast cancer made me a more open person and opened my eyes just to life and to the beauty of just waking up in the morning and being able to say, I love you to the people that you love and the people that are, constantly in your life. So all of those things are very important.
Yes, my Leah said having a support system is essential. It is. Sometimes
Very.
it's a matter of life and death. Like you need that cheerleader when you don't feel like going on. You need somebody to be like, "Hey, come on, get up, let's go, let's go." Or you just need
Yes,
them to say, "Okay, I'm gonna give you this day, and then tomorrow we're gonna get back at it." You need that.
absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
need
And
that.
sometimes also with that, we have to understand that people go through a process too when we're diagnosed. The people around us, the people who love us, the people who are in our lives, they're shocked and they go through their own reaction to what is going on. So sometimes people it's too much. They can't handle it and they would rather not. And some people step up to the plate and say, hey, I'm not going anywhere. So, you need all of these things to happen so you can learn how to function smoothly, because it's a rocky road and you need for all these things to happen so you can kind of find your way and mark your path and kind of stay on that track.
Yes, the whole family is going through cancer. So, everybody needs to be involved. That way, you won't get burnt out. One person doing everything. Everybody takes turn, helping that individual who is diagnosed. So, yes, your support system is very important. Mimi, when you're going through cancer and you have that support system there, and you need those people to lean on, and you're not just the support system that you're leaning on, but you have to have the Creator. You need God, to lean on. When those people are not there, you turn to God. What was your relationship like? Your faith like before and after cancer?
Wow. I'm not going to say I wasn't a religious person before being diagnosed, but I did not have a strong connection with God, with knowing that He was in my life and knowing that He was protecting me and knowing that He was covering me. I had little to no knowledge of that previous to being diagnosed. And after being diagnosed, I've had specific instances where I know for a fact that God is with me, that He's watching over me, and that He is the reason why I'm making it through. It's not just me. It's not just my strong will. It's not just the prayers of others. It's not just my doctors. God plays the number one role in all of these things. And I'm not going to say either that it made me an extreme or radical religious person, but it set me straight, and it gave me that direct connection with God that I needed to be able to talk to Him, to pray to Him, to be able to have that connection in knowing that He has left me here on earth for a reason. I have a purpose, I have a mission, and that is what I'm set to do for the remaining time that I'm here, which I intend for that to be a very long time. And, He shows me in every way that that will be a long time. As long as I continue to walk the path that I'm walking, living the life that I want to live and not what other people want, what's best for me. I feel like I can get through anything at this point.
Awesome. If you are just tuning in, we are live on Intellectual Radio. We're talking about finding strength in the storm with Mimi Frazier. Mimi, did you actually have a hand in what type of treatment that you were going to receive?
Not really. Basically, when I found out, the beginning stages of finding out was very difficult. Like when they were placed in my port, they punctured my lung. So I was in the hospital for a while before even being able to start treatment. But basically, I just, after my lung being punctured, I went and sought another doctor. And so I went to another medical facility and got all new doctors. And basically they sat me down and said, this is what you're going to do. This is what we have to do to make sure that you survive. I really got no guidance on fertility and like if I wanted to possibly still have a family of my own before starting treatment. I didn't get any of those talks. I didn't get, a lot of things that I needed. So I don't want to say I went in blindsided because that wouldn't be the full truth, but I definitely didn't go into this process knowing all of the information that I needed to know. I kind of learned everything as I went through the process.
How important is it for you to get those important details like that? Because you're not the first person that I've heard that from.
Very important because now, and like I said, I'm not going to say I was totally blindsided. I was maybe given a brochure about a fertility clinic to go to and talk to. But I know certain people who have gone through the same journey that I've gone through, and their doctors have sent them to specialists to talk about if they want to have a family, what they want to do with their eggs, if the person they're with is interested in it, like what their plans are for possibly still being a parent in the future. And I got none of that. So that kind of made me a little frustrated. But during the process, I got pregnant when I wasn't supposed to. And that kind of turned my doctors in a whole another direction. They were all kind of like yelling at me, not really yelling, yelling per se, but not happy with me. Just like, you weren't supposed to do that. You could kill yourself. You could kill your baby. You're not going to survive this. And basically I turned into a rebel, and I was like, I'm going to have this baby. I don't care. If I do not make it, at least I'll leave some sort of legacy behind. So I was like a one-track mind with that. And I kind of, again, like I did when I was younger, didn't think about myself and my health and my well-being. I kind of like looked outside of the box, and that kind of put me in a little danger. So I ended up losing the baby and having to go through that as well. So I didn't really get a lot of time to like go through a lot of anything. Like, I was thrusted into it, told what I needed to do. That happened. A couple months later, on my birthday, I started chemotherapy, and I went through chemo for about 6 months, every 2 weeks. And during that time, I got all types of like injections and different things to like put me in menopause and kind of prepare me for the mastectomy and the salpingo oophorectomy. So it was a lot. So I didn't really get a lot of time to process. Like I said, I was processing as I was going along with it, and I'm still processing to this day.
And all of this at the age of 34?
Yes, that's when it all started. I actually started chemo on my 35th birthday.
That is a lot to process. Did they refer you, Mimi, to a psychiatrist so that you can, talk about some of this stuff, or even a psychologist?
Not at first. I actually kind of went crazy, and it's scary. Like, I went crazy before they decided to put me on some antidepressants, and some of the antidepressants that we chose at the beginning stages while I was in chemo and all of that, with all these meds working on me, it just wasn't a good effect. So I had a very negative experience with it. So I didn't want to talk to anybody. I completely shut down. And not until I would say about 2018 did I open up to the idea of going to speak with someone. And that's what I did. And so I've been going to see a psychologist every week since 2018, and it has changed my life. It's totally changed how I look at everything. And it's something that I feel like is needed. I feel like it's vital. I feel like doctors, that should be in the plan, in your treatment plan, for your doctor to refer you to speak with someone, and for that person to stick with you, for you to have a patient advocate, for you to have a social worker, for you to have a psychologist, for you to have a psychiatrist. All of these things are different, and you should have all of these things, not just one. All of these levels of help are support for you, and it will get you through the process. But unfortunately, a lot of us get into that pretty late in the game, and we have to kind of start from ground zero and build ourselves up, because we've already crumbled by that time. So I say that it's very important, to talk with someone. And even at the beginning, if you're afraid, because as African Americans, we do not like to go talk to people. We feel like we're burdening them. We feel like we're putting our stress on them. We feel like they're in our business, and so many things that are not true. Like, we need to learn how to communicate better. We need to learn how to speak. We need to learn how to listen. We need to learn how to, take constructive criticism and things like that, because these things will help us with the process.
I totally agree with you on that. I don't understand. I think it does come from generations of, what happens in this house stays in this house. And
Absolutely. Yes.
And I don't know if cancer for some people is people are ashamed, and they feel like, maybe they did something to deserve this, or sometimes people look at you and they'll make those comments, and you feel like, I don't want nobody to know that I have cancer. I'm going to keep this to myself. So some people try to go through it alone and process this thing by themselves. And sometimes they have minimal help because they don't want everybody to know, because they don't want to be treated funny. They don't want to hear the comments. Like, people say the darndest things.
Oh my goodness. It's unbelievable. It's absolutely unbelievable.
It's like, hello, I'm right here. I'm not dead. I'm right here. It's like they just say the darndest things. As far as family is concerned, Mimi, were there anybody in your family that had any type of cancers that, may have said, hey, maybe I should think about getting checked for cancer, because, my uncle had it or my aunt had it?
No, I mean, I did. My grandmother passed away from cancer. I believe it was lung cancer when I was 15. And my mother, actually, me and my mother, I got diagnosed kind of right after my mother got diagnosed. She had a different type of cancer than I had, but my mom is a very private person. So our cancer journeys are the complete opposite, whereas though she's very inclusive and, you know, is very private and reserved. I found peace with being open and being honest about my journey and sharing my journey with other women and having other women feel comfortable enough to talk to me and come to me and let's share our journeys together. And so that's what made it a lot easier for me. And another thing is that I had a few very close childhood friends that were diagnosed a little before me with cancer. So I had a bit of support, you know, from people my age and people that I'm familiar with that were going through the same things that I was going through. So that was very, very helpful to go through, to have them around. And, you know, I found a very small organization called 4-3 Sisters here in Maryland. And, you know, we joke around and I tell her she's my life coach, she's my mentor, she's my counselor, she's like everything, because she taught me how to kind of like pick up my life again, because I legitimately fell apart. Because during all of this time, when I'm going through all of this, I decided to get married. And then 2 years after being married, we got separated. And so I was just like, again, left alone and trying to pick up, you know, some pieces of my life to try to put back together and become the strong woman that I know that I can be, you know, that, you know, who I am. So I knew that I wanted to fight, and I knew I didn't want to, you know, let myself down. So I just never gave up. Even at my darkest moments when I had no one, I just continued to fight.
Was there a why me moment, Mimi?
Oh my goodness, yes. I like literally, you know, question like everything I went through my whole life. Like, is it because of this that I got cancer? Is God punishing me because I left school early? Like, is he, you know, I ran through everything in my mind as to why this happened to me. But after long conversations with God and a lot of praying and a lot of soul searching, you come to realize that is a question that will never be answered. And God doesn't make mistakes, and you have to accept that. And regardless of the fact if you are not happy with the diagnosis or the fact that you even got diagnosed, you have to learn how to accept it, and you have to learn how to find some sort of resolution and pick up the pieces and do what he wants you to do, which is live your life.
Yes, absolutely. Cadillac says, keeping it to yourself never makes it better. So some people out there are willing to go through it with you. Sometimes you have to let it be known. If they love you, they will go through it with you. And yes, it sounds like it's very hard to go through by yourself. It is.
It is,
definitely. I would never want to go through that by myself. Like, that's a big burden. Like,
yeah.
And if you,
but you know, they say when you time alone, although you find times when you're just like, why? Like, I don't want to be alone. But alone time really allows you to get to know who you really are as a person. And so I would say, although I don't wish cancer on anybody, I don't wish any of, you know, getting married and getting separated and then going through depression and things like that, gaining a lot of weight, losing weight, and not knowing if you're going to be evicted out of your home and not knowing if you're going to survive and, you know, things like that. I've found that I've come out to be a stronger, more empowered, and better woman because of the times that I had alone, because I needed that. You know, I needed to find myself. I needed to really understand myself and understand what journey I was about to embark on, because whatever life you lived before cancer is gone after you go through your journey. You become a whole new person. You have a whole new life. And so you have to adapt to that and accept it and move forward.
Yep, that's that new norm that you go through. And sometimes it could be very hard. If you are just tuning in, we are live on Intellectual Radio. We're talking to Mimi Frazier, and we're talking about finding strength in the storm. And Kimmy says, what's the best way to show love and support to someone close to you who is dealing with cancer if they're a private person?
I would say just let them in, let them in. No matter how you feel, you need the love. You need the love. You need the compassion. You need the empathy. You need all of that. And even though everything around you is telling you, no, 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 I don't need it. I need to be by myself. That's just, the devil talking and trying to suppress you. You want to receive all the love that you can get because you need it. There are going to be times where you just want everyone to not talk to you. You don't want to see anyone. But I say those are the times that you let everyone in, because I prior to being diagnosed with cancer, I lived a very, I would say reserved, with my feelings. I felt a lot, and then I let it out in all the wrong ways. So a lot of people was afraid to come to me and, share my journey with me because they didn't know how I would react when all along I was screaming out for help and screaming out for support. And only those few people that was just you know what? No, I don't care if you're acting like you're not opening the door. I don't care if you're acting like you're not going to take my calls. I'm going to call you 1,000 times. I'm going to bring you food. I'm going to make you get out of the house and things like that. And so you need that. You need that support. So I would say just take it. Let them in. And that requires no work from you. All you have to do is let that guard down.
Yep, let the guard down. Someone has to be there for you. So
yes.
Even if you, some people just get together and they make a calendar and they take turns dropping stuff off or picking people up,
Absolutely.
little things that you can do. Let's see. Kellex says you see things in front of you. Oh, you're talking about what she said earlier, when you spend that time by yourself. And you do need that time by yourself, because if you don't process it, then you really can't share it with anybody else. So once you process it, then you can begin to open up and share it with somebody else. Every time you share your story, it's healing for you. So don't be afraid to share it. What would you
Agreed.
say? What would you say, Mimi? What's the importance of the awareness part of cancer when it comes to?
You said what's the importance of the awareness part?
Yes, when it comes to saving lives.
Oh wow, it's number one. I mean, once I decided to open up and let my light shine, I felt like it was my duty to make people aware. Like my friends, I'm texting them, did you go get your mammogram? Did you go? My family, all of that. It was my mission to let people know that it's important. Our lives are important. We're not paying attention. We have the signs sometimes and we just don't pay attention. We need to save our own lives because we don't have people here to do it for us. So being aware and staying woke to your health and your wellness and what's going on around you is very important. So I would say, it was very careless of me to not be aware of how dangerous cancer is and how we were dying at rapid speeds and, the statistics and logistics of it all before being diagnosed. But I can tell you I'm woke now. And, my mission until I leave this earth is to empower women to make sure they're aware, to make sure that I embrace them on all levels. It doesn't matter if you're at a stage 0 or you're at a stage 4. We all are sisters. We're all family. We all are going through the same things, and we all need to support each other.
That's true. What would you say about your eating habits? Did they change? Did they stay the same? How did you look at food after being diagnosed with cancer?
Oh my goodness, I'm having such a rough time. Last year, I went from 106 pounds to 160 pounds within about 10 months. And I don't know. I still to this day, I still see the gastro doctor regularly. They are trying all these different medications with me to try and get my appetite together. Some days I want to eat, some days I don't. So I went from 160 back down to about 135 now. So, I eat, when I have the urge to, but that's not safe. This is something that I'm working on. So I don't want anyone to think that, not eating because because your body is not hungry is safe. It's really not. Sometimes when, you're not hungry and you don't have an appetite, that's something else that you need to check on, because it's very vital that we get, our vitamins, that we get the fruits and veggies and the proteins that we need, because like I said, we only get one body, so we have to take care of it. So I make sure at this point that I'm eating my 3 meals a day, but I definitely can do more. And that's something that I'm working on. So you guys pray for me with that.
Yes, the nutrition piece is such a big thing. Making sure that when you're going through treatment, even when you can't eat, that you're trying to get some type of nutrients in your body. So some of us think that seeing a nutritionist is like, oh, that's not for me, that's for you, maybe somebody else. But you need to see a nutritionist when you're going through a cancer journey, so you would know how to eat and how to get those nutrients back in your body. And a lot of times we try to do it through supplements, but sometimes if you're eating the right foods, you will get your nutrients through the foods. And if you have to supplement, do that, but try to get it through your foods first.
Yes, absolutely. I say vitamins are very important, because a lot of us are on, I say permanent hormone therapy, because at this point, I mean, every time I consult with my oncologist, it seems like she's adding on another 5 years to my hormone therapy. So I would say taking your vitamins and making sure that you're walking, and like, even if you're not able to exercise, because I'm not really able to exercise the way I want because of the condition of my body, but just making sure that you always stay active is very important. Always drinking water is very important. Always getting enough rest is very important. And having time for yourself is very important.
Yes, that self-care. That self-care is a big piece. And sometimes we doing everything for everybody else, and then we are second. So just make sure.
Oh my goodness, yes. And we preach it. We're like, no, we got to do this, we got to do that. But then sometimes we're the one, that needs all of the self-care. So that's very important. Self-care is very vital.
I totally agree. Mimi, what would you say that happened in your journey that caused you to be an advocate for others?
Well, when I got the mastectomy, I hated my body. I didn't want to look in the mirror. Every time I did, I cried. I just couldn't accept it. And then one day, I just talked to God, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I'm not going to make it if I hate myself. What, show me something. And the next morning I woke up and I said, I'm not going to do this to myself anymore. My mission is to, whatever woman in this world that felt the way I have been feeling, I want to change that. So I created Linkage Beauty Movement, and through that, I wanted to showcase the beauty, like, behind cancer. When we hear cancer, we hear and see all of the bad things, but although we don't want to admit it, there's beauty behind what we go through, because our scars that we have, those are beauty marks. The things that the joy that we find in our new lives, that's beauty. How we look at ourselves differently. Now I look at myself totally different. Like, I love looking at myself. I totally love who I am now, but it took a long time for me to get to that point. So I want every woman on earth to feel beautiful, no matter what. If you have one breast, if you have no breast, if you have a half a breast, if you have gotten surgeries other than removing your breast, whatever scars they leave, I want us to always feel beautiful. I just want us to know that we are enough, we are worthy. And even though we've gone through all of these obstacles, we're still beautiful.
And that's why it's important for you to connect with other people that's going through this, so that you can find out some of the different secrets that they have and they've been through and they conquered it, and they can help you to overcome what you're going through. So if you're going through cancer, so get with some of these support groups and these organizations out here that are catering to people with cancer. You're not alone.
Absolutely, because we're here. Absolutely, I was about to say, we're here. You're not alone, but sometimes all it takes is to make that step. Because like I said, I wasn't this person before. I would have never, Linkage Beauty was created online. Like, I would have never tried to do something like that and open myself up so much, but it changed my life. And I wouldn't take it back for the world, because I love all of these women. I love all the people who I've made connections with, and they make me better. So I want to give, I just want to give, and I want them to know that they're not alone, always.
Well, Mimi, Kimmy says, if there are children bonded to the person battling cancer, what is the best way to address the situation to make them aware of what is happening, but also allow them a safe zone of comfort to express themselves?
Oh, wow, that is an amazing question. So during the midst of my diagnosis and fighting cancer, I took in my little brother, and I, took care of him, and I started to raise him when he was around 13 and 14. And he was very advanced and very smart at the time, and always had tons of questions for me. And like I said, I'm a very open person. And although I didn't want to shock him with, the reality of it, which is you can pass away, I wanted him to know exactly what I was going through. So I would always show him, my chest, my scars, any questions he had, which he had lots of them. I would always answer them. I wasn't afraid to be who I had become in front of him, because I wanted him to know that this is real. This can happen to anyone. And you need to be prepared. I want you to be prepared for anything. And I want you to see that no matter what people go through in life, they are capable of overcoming it. And I wanted him to see that his sister was faced with death, and that I got through it, to show him that no matter what obstacles you may face as a Black man in this world, you can get through it. Don't ever look down on yourself, or don't ever say, I can't do it, because you can. We are fully capable and equipped to get through things. We just have to believe in ourselves and have strong faith. So children are very resilient. They are more resilient than what we expect. He's now 18, and he is the best caretaker. Whenever he's around, if anything happens, like I just recently was cooking and cut myself, he was my paramedic in 2.9 seconds. He had me bandaged up and all together. So it could be hurtful, because yes, we all cried and we all were sad. And he asked me, why did this happen to you? And I didn't know what to say, but he's a very strong person now, and he knows what to do. And he's aware, about what breast cancer can do, and what it's about. So I'm very proud of him. And I know that, it may be a scary thing to bring children around it and, have them face it, but it works out at the end, because like I said, they're resilient. They're little geniuses, and they'll be fine.
They are, and I think we don't give them enough credit, Mimi.
We don't.
we don't give them enough credit. They need to know, because if something happened to you and they don't know, then they're left dealing with that guilt, like, oh, I should have known, or why didn't I pick up on this? I didn't notice this. Like,
absolutely, yes, you're right.
Just break it down to them in their own language. Make it age appropriate to where they can understand it. They have books out here to where you can read them a book and you can show them pictures of what to expect.
Yes. So true. Yes.
So that they know, and then, allow them to be a part of your journey, so that, when you go to ring that bell and when you're celebrating, they're right there with you. Those can be sometimes your best cheerleaders, is your children, helping to take care of you. So don't leave them out.
Absolutely.
So I totally agree with it when it comes to having that comfort zone, Kimmy, for the children, because they need to know what's going on. Yeah. So, Mimi, when it comes to survivorship, what does that look like to you?
Oh, wow. Survivorship to me looks like waking up every morning with a positive attitude and a positive outlook on your well-being and your body and your health and your diagnosis, and being at peace with your life and what's going on in it. Because we are in control of our lives. Like, we are in control at the end of the day. We're even in control over, like we talked about earlier, doctors and getting second opinions and things like that. We're in control over our health. So I just want us to always know that. And to be able to survive, you have to stay strong, and you have to never give up on yourself, because there are going to be times that you just can't. Like, you're worn out, you're battered and bruised, you're done with all the meds and the therapy and doctors telling you this and that, and you just kind of want to be your own person, but you can be. you can take a stand and you can do those things within survivorship, finding your people, finding your support system that doesn't leave your side, and just knowing that you'll be okay.
Yes. Finding your tribe. That's what it's all about. Because they're gonna follow you.
Absolutely.
They're gonna be your support, your cheerleaders. Even when you're done with cancer, sometimes there's the aftermath of cancer. When you're done with the treatment and your appointments are being cut down, and you're just out there like, okay, what do I do? Because somebody was managing you the whole time that you were going through treatment, and now you're out there by yourself, and it's like, what do I do? And that's what that tribe kicks in, and they're right there to help you stay
Absolutely.
focused.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, in my journey, I'm still basically at doctor's appointments like 3 to 4 times out of the week. So I'm still on my journey. Although I am in remission, I'm still on my journey with the after effects, and I'm on hormone therapy probably for the next 10 years. And I'm just having a lot of issues with, all of the things that my body has endured. So I'm very happy and proud to say that I survived and to say that I'm still here. And I am ready every step of the way to fight whatever my body has in store for me, because like I said, I have a mission. God showed me what my mission is, and that's what I'm here to do.
So, what was the defining moment in your journey?
I would say deciding to be open with everything and like post pictures of myself, and becoming free. That was a defining moment for me. When I decided that I'm free of whatever anybody thinks of me, whether it's good or bad. I'm free of any fears that I have, whether I'm going to die, whether I'm going to stay alive. I'm free of any feelings that I have that are negative with my body. Oh, I don't look the same. Oh, I don't have breasts anymore. I'm not good enough. What man is going to want me? Oh, all these different things, oh, I can't have children on my own. Am I ever going to be able to be a mother? So there's a lot of things that go through your mind. But like I always say, we just can never give up on our goals, our dreams, and the things that we want in life, because we only have one. So we have to live it.
You're right about that. You only get one. So we have to make sure that, we're living to the fullest and we're treating our temples good. Um,
Absolutely.
Leah said, yes, there was a testimony in your journey. Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you for listening, guys.
Kimmy, what would be some advice that you would give someone who was just newly diagnosed with cancer?
Stay strong. Find the best doctors and the best support team that you can have, and make sure that you have the 4 things set in line: the patient advocate, the social worker, the team of doctors, and your support system within your family or your group of friends, because cancer is scary for everyone. So sometimes, when you're early diagnosed, you want your family there, but they're scared, out of their minds, because they think they're going to lose you, or they think they're thinking the worst of it. So you have to somehow build a shield of protection for yourself, where you find solace in knowing that you're going to be okay, because it's a journey, but it's not a journey that we can't win. We can win it. We just have to stay positive.
Yes, that's very important. And some people's like, oh, I'm tired of people telling me to stay positive. Like every time they see you, like, girl, you gotta think positive so you can survive. Leave me alone.
Exactly.
Leave me alone. Somebody is showing you love from India, and I'm not gonna pronounce the name because I know I'm gonna butcher it up.
Oh,
But
amazing.
yeah,
Amazing.
from India. So tell us, Mimi, about the organization that you started and how we can find it.
Oh, sure. The name of my foundation is Linkage Beauty Movement. We are on Instagram and Facebook. On IG, we are at Linkage Beauty. And on Facebook, we're at Linkage Beauty Movement. And our website is linkagebeauty-worldwide.site123.me. It's a very long name, but if you type it in on Google, you'll be able to find it very fast. basically, like I said, I created this organization because I just want us to feel special. I want us to feel beautiful. And I remember the times when I was like in my dark places and I received just even a card in the mail from an organization or from a person that gave me some inspirational words, even though I didn't want to hear it right now. Like you said, sometimes we don't want to hear positivity or anything, but when you're forced, with it, or when you get something that just you have no other option but to smile, that's what I wanted to do. And so that's why I said, okay, I not only want to showcase these women because I showcase them, I collect photos and I put them together in a collage and I showcase them. I give you a little piece of them, letting you know where they are, where they're located, where they reside. I have over 200 showcases so far on our social media platforms, and they're from the United States to the United Kingdom, to Canada, to India, Israel. So I am blessed to have connected with so many beautiful, amazing, strong, bold, fearless women. It just makes me proud that I stood up for what I wanted and I stood up for what I believed in, which is to live. And I've met so many beautiful women with this process. So every day I'm inspired, even on days when I just don't have it in me, I think of Linkage Beauty and I'm like, nope, because I know someone is reaching out to me right now, or I know someone needs to be uplifted, or I could be sending out a package to someone right now. So it's very important to me that Linkage Beauty movement is known for making women feel beautiful, because that's what I want to do.
Awesome. I'll make sure that I put the link up on my page as well so that they will see it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So Mimi, your story has been awesome. I know it has blessed me, and from the comments, it has blessed the listeners as well.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored. It's always an honor to, spread awareness and, get your voice heard and, have people connect. That's always important.
Yes. So my last question for you will be, first of all, tell them how to stay connected with you.
I'm connected 24/7 on social media, on Instagram and Facebook. Also, we have a telephone number that you can call from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., which is 240-602-8875. Also, you can reach me directly via email at linkagebeauty@icloud.com or at linkagebeautymovement@gmail.com.
Awesome. And my last question for you, Mimi, is when you hear the word warrior, what does that mean to you?
The word warrior means power. It means strength. It means survival. It means love. And it means faith.
Awesome. Thank you again, Mimi, for sharing your story.
Thank you.
I appreciate you for being vulnerable and open with us. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you all, and God bless you all.
Thank you. I will leave you guys with these words of wisdom. Life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain. Join me next Monday right here at 6 p.m. on Intellectual Radio. As always, thank you for tuning in to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady ReShell, where we are changing lives one warrior at a time.
Thank you for listening to this week's edition of Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell. To find out more about Warriors Talk, follow at Warriors Talk, the number 1 on all social media outlets, and Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell on YouTube. Please join us next week and every Monday evening at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time on IntellectualRadio.com for Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell, where we encourage, educate, and empower you into action.